Hi guys, welcome back to the Farm Workshop. Today's going to be a bit of a controversial video. I've seen quite a few videos on YouTube where people are suggesting the best hand plane and what they must have, and this is the be all and end all of it all. I've got an opinion on this, and bearing in mind this is my disclaimer, this is just my opinion. And second disclaimer is this is aimed mainly at the UK woodworker, not so much Americans, because they have a far greater selection of planes. Right, let's get it out here straight away. A lot of the sites recommend Stanley planes. Stanley planes are very good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to say it. Stanley are not the king plane. There are alternatives for the UK woodworker, and I've got a selection here, and this will be my views on it. Right, this is a very early Stanley number 4, works superbly, all rosewood, beautiful plane. However, in my opinion, and I use my planes a hell of a lot, in my opinion, I'm going to give you a rundown on what I think are better planes, and you get far more bang for your buck for the money. Right, no particular order. Please don't ever knock the humble record. If you get the early ones made from the 50s, 60s onwards, probably up to the early 70s, they're heavier than the Stanley. They're good, reliable workhorses, and they do exactly what the Stanley does, and you can usually get them a lot cheaper than a vintage Stanley one. Next little underdog, early footprint plane. Very good planes, very similar to the record, even painted a nice colour blue. You can get them in all different colours, but don't knock the footprint. Very good plane. Next one, no particular order, marbles. Once again, very nice plane. It'll do everything a Stanley will do, and yet you can usually pick these up far cheaper than a Stanley. Acorn planes, this is a later one, so this was believe it or not, actually it was a Chapman's one, but it was made by Stanley. I do have earlier ones, but this will do pretty much everything the Stanley will do. And then we'll get on to my favourite planes, which I think are just head and shoulders better than the Stanley. We've got the Woden, absolutely lovely plane. There's no slop in it, no backlash, it cuts superb. It's a nice weighty plane. There's more beef to it, should we say, than the Stanley. It makes pushing through cuts very easy, but again, you can usually pick these up far cheaper than you can a comparable age Stanley. Very underrated plane. Then we move on to WS. This was the predecessor to the Woden. William Swift planes. Now come on guys, this is just damn beautiful. If you're a weirdo like me and think that planes are pretty, this one is absolutely stunning. Lovely brass lever cap, brass fixtures and fittings on there, rosewood. Beautiful planes. They cut amazing. If I just had 2 planes but I had to work with for the rest of my life, I'd choose the Woden WS, because they are absolutely amazing, and you really need to try them and compare them to a Stanley and you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, saying all that, I recently discovered this. I've seen these Sedgeleys before and sort of not dismissed them, but kind of didn't know too much about them, so assumed they were not a very good plane. Oh boy, was I wrong. This is now my new favourite. Has rosewood in all the right places. Little things like black lateral adjuster, black yoke, black screws in there. Unfortunately, when I restored this, I took the blacking off the the chip breaker, which is a shame really. But this is a nice steel affair. It's not flimsy stuff like what I found on the Stanley. It's got a nice tapered iron. It is an absolutely amazing plane, and guess what, because so little is known about them, they go for absolute peanuts on eBay and such sites. This plane stands head and shoulders above the Stanley, the Marples, the Acorn, the Record, the Footprint, the Woden, WS. If nothing else, try one of these guys. I promise you won't be disappointed. I mean, look, forest green. It's British racing car green. There couldn't be a more stereotypical British plane than this. Come on, kick the American planes into touch and get yourselves one of these. What I will say is there's some donkeys out there as well, and I'm not saying that won't work, but by God, look at this heap of I can't even say it, but look at this heap of rubbish. That's a Stanley. It cuts. It is absolutely a rubbish plane. I hate using it, and I've got it in my workshop purely to remind me not to do stupid purchases on a whim, and just get it to, I don't know, see if I could get it to work. Horrible plane. Another one I advise you not to get, Drumfield. This was pretty much made in the same pattern as that horrible Stanley. Plastic handles. Don't get me wrong, it works, because I don't have any tools in my shop that don't work, but it's very hard work, and it just, no, don't even go with Drumfields. And finally, whatever you do, if you take one bit of advice from me, and don't get yourself a Sedgley, but you take one bit of advice from me, please, there are two planes I'm now going to say don't get a rapier. Rapiers are a plane what look kind of cool. Yeah, they'll work, but they invariably get stress fractures, usually by the mouth, and it runs up the cheek, and they're a terrible plane. In fact, in the maybe 24 rapiers what have passed through my hands, every single one has had a stress fracture. Horrible plane, don't get them. And also, don't get a Whitmore. You will be a Whitmore plane. I prefer to use this cheapo Stanley one than a Whitmore. What I will say is a lot of American guys and a lot of people, when they're suggesting hand planes to use, they're somewhat biased. There'll always be an ulterior motive, be it it's because they sell the planes or they're affiliated to the company. You notice that I've got all affordable planes here. If you want to stick to British and you want to go premium, I would suggest a Clifton or a Preston, especially a Clifton. Amazing planes. If you must go American, you've got the likes of Lee Nelson and Veritas. However, it's plain and wood. I don't think you should have to remortgage your house just to plain some wood. So, sum this little video up. Get yourself one of these, guys. If I'm wrong, you can always send me a message, PM me or whatever, and I'll get the damn thing off you, because these planes, once it gets out there, the UK's best kept secret it seems, on these Sedgleys, they're just going to go up in price. That's me done. Cheers, guys.